Hello, everyone. So, we on our podcast too, and we are talking about the two theoretical perspectives on attention deflect hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, basically. Today's podcast will discuss two main perspectives on attention deflect hyperactivity disorder, ADHD: the neurobiological model and the psychosocial environment model. ADHD is one of the most frequently diagnosed mental disorders in children. It is listed in Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, published by the American Psychiatric Association. So, according to DSM 5 criteria, ADHD is marked by ongoing patterns of inattention and or hyperactivity, impulsivity that disrupts functioning or development symptoms must show up before age 12. It occurs in various settings like home and school, significantly impact academic and social or work performances. I can vouch for that as a person who works in the kids field, since I do work at this place called Kids Strong, where I coach kids, and we do have certain kids that have either a form of autism or form of ADHD, ADD. So I know from hands-on experience from seeing kids like that. While professionals agree on the criteria for a diagnosis, there is an ongoing debate about why ADHD develops and how to understand it. I truly feel that when it comes to ADHD, especially, now I can say proudly that it's getting more informational now due to how it was back then, how they treated people who were either on the spectrum, who do have a form of ADHD, ADD. They tend to treat them like either like an outcast, or they say, okay, we'll put you in different things so you can stay focused and not looking at the outskirts of it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so we're gonna look at the two key points on it. I can say from my first perspective, the neurobiological model sees ADHD mainly as a brain dazed disorder. Research indicates difference in brain structures, neurotransmitter function, and genetic factors among those diagnosed with ADHD. Studies have found that areas like the prefrontal cortex, which manages attention, impulse control, and executive functioning, may develop differently in children with ADHD. Additionally, dopamine and neurotrophins, neurotransmitters linked to attention and reward, seems to work differently in those affected. Um, for genetic studies, this model, ADHD frequently runs in families. We can say it's hereditary or, due to genetics, or estimates are relatively high compared to many other mental health conditions. Studies often reveal higher agreement rates among identical twins or fraternal twins, which is really crazy to think about. I can say the pros of the neurobiological models. It reduces stigma. Seeing ADHD as a brain based issue can shift blame away from parents or children. I can say, like, from seeing people who, especially when it comes to parents, I know when it comes to parents, when it comes to like some form of when they hear that their child has a form of a mental health condition or some form of that, it tends to either the parent starts getting upset, or like, oh, what have I done, or simple things like that. I've seen that firsthand, but I know when it comes to these, it's not like a really big thing to like really panic about, since we can be able to control it. It does support medication treatment, stimulant medication like methylphenidate and amphetamines, targets neurotransmitter systems and are often effective. So I remember, I can say from my personal experience as a kid, I've done different things that may have seen, because even from asking from my mother's perspective on this topic, because she also she doesn't have ADHD, she has ADD. So I know it may be different, but it has like similar comparisons. So with the hereditary, we thought it was going to come upon me, especially since I had similar symptoms of a child that has ADHD. We did get myself tested. I was on medicine for like a little bit, but I came to be fine. So I don't know. It'll be able, because I know with some people it can either be when they were a kid or it grows to them as an adult, which is really insane when you really think about the brain and the mindset. Um, Strong empirical support, neuroimaging, and genetic studies provide measurable biological evidence. The cons is risk over medicalization. Critiques argue it may lead to relying on medication or overall behavior or environmental strategies. So when it comes to that, especially when it comes to the certain environments of when it comes to kids who have ADHD, excuse me, especially if it's on their emotionals, I know most of the time now, especially nowadays in our generation, with kids who do have ADHD, when it doesn't help them, or like when they get overwhelmed very easily, especially if it's something they're trying to like really pay attention to, and their emotions get the best of them because they're like, I'm trying to stay focused, and even though I have this, it feels like I'm getting pressure to stay focused. So it's like, even if they don't understand or their mindset is somewhere else, it gets more frustrating on the kid, and it all like frustrates the kid a lot emotionally, and it also frustrates the parents because they're trying to figure out everything what's going on, especially if they do not know much of their research. um I can say it, reductionist viewpoint, it might miss social environment and cultural factors, concerns about diagnostic inflation. Some worry that framing ADHD solely as a biological may lead to overdiagnostics. I can see that because, especially, when it comes to mental health, it's very important. So I know that from, okay, if I have this from ADHD, there people are fearing like, okay, this may lead to depression, this may lead to something else. Well, it really depends on if that person's mental state is also good as well. And the overdiagnosis may too lead to it, because people have it's different diagnosis. It may be similar, but it can be different ways, different mental health conditions. So it may be like a little overwhelming, a little stressful to know, like, okay, if I have ADHD, I may lead or may over diagnose something else towards it. um Although the neurobiologic model is widely supported in clinical practice, it is not the only explanation. um Perspective 2, the psychosocial and environmental model. The psychosocial model suggests that ADHD symptoms can come from environmental factors, social expectations, and learned behaviors. Instead of focusing mainly on brain differences, the model highlight contexts including parenting styles, classroom structures, trauma, diet, sleep, and social economic stressors. For instance, children facing constant stress, inconsistent discipline, or chaotic home lives may show behavior similar to ADHD. Also, modern classroom expectations, like long periods spent seated. I had students like that. I was a kid like that as well. So I kind of understand that perspective. Or hyperactive traits in some kids, it may increase their intention in attentive span. This perspective also questions if someone's labeled behavior are simply part of normal childhood temperament. From this angle, ADHD might sometimes show a mismatch between a child's natural energy levels and demands of their environment. There are pros and cons of psychosocial models. Holistic approach looks at family dynamics, school settings, and broader cultural influences. Promotes behavior strategies, parents, training, classroom adjustments, and therapy can be very effective. I know this is very highly recommended, and the crazy thing about it, when we do tend to recommend stuff like this, a lot of parents tend to get defensive about it because they're like, okay, what am I doing wrong? You're questioning my parenting, which is not that. It's mainly of getting your child better. Encourages prevention, focuses on enhancing stabilities and environment, and developing coping skills. Cons of the psychosocial model: may increase blame on parents. Like we stated, parents tend to put the blame on themselves or blame anything that kind of matter with these type of social matters that tend to pertain to the child. Families might feel they are responsible for the symptoms, like we stated. Let's focus on biological evidence. This view may downplay strong genetic findings. Treatment limitations, behavioral strategies alone might not fully address symptoms for some children. This perspective reminds us that children develop in connections with their environment. Their behavior results from complex interactions between biology and their surroundings. Integrating the two models, instead of seeing these perspectives as competing many um clint, clinicians I'm sorry now uses a biosocial model which combines biological factors and environmental influences. I can say, for example, a child may inherit tendencies of attention issues. However, supportive parenting, organized classrooms, and early interventions can greatly lessen impairment. I think I can say not to be that, but like I think with me when I dealt with that, I think when we dealt with everything with the environment and everything, I was fine. And I think that helped me lessen my attention span a little bit. It helped not lessen but like increase my attention span to be able to focus. My fault. Um on the other hand, stressful environments may worsen those vulnerabilities, especially if it's a rough environment or anything that pertains to the child's mental health. It'll be very, very bad. Research increasingly backs this view. Medication might improve attention and impulse control, while therapy boosts coping skills, organization, and family communication. Combining strategies are often leads to the best results. Why these perspectives matter: how we view ADHD affects treatment planning, public policy, school accommodations, insurance coverage, social attitudes. If ADHD is seen only as a biological issue, medication may become the main treatment. If viewed mainly as an environmental one, resource might focus more on the parenting programs and improving skills. Both perspectives matter greatly. I want to say it is important that to note that neither model fully explains every case because we're still trying to get through the brain, the neural arc. Because mind you, we're still researching things every day. So it is still good that we're learning new stuff every day. So we still have to keep our head on, like, keep our mindset to be like, okay, I know with certain mental health conditions, they're still doing more upon research, some upon research. So it's mainly of the patients to be more understanding. Excuse me. A balanced understanding that helps avoid oversimplification. In summary, ADHD, let me not say the full thing, ADHD can be viewed through several theoretical lenses of the neurobiological model, focus on genetics and the brain functions, offering a solid scientific support and effective medication options. The psychosocial model emphasizes environmental factors, encouraging holistic preventive methods. As research progresses, combined different perspectives will likely remain vital for providing compassionate and effective care to children and family. I want to thank you guys. Like, share, subscribe. I'm playing, but yes, I hope you guys have a good one.